welcome to Small Space for Young Entrepreneurs. And I am your host, Scott Mesha. And I am sitting with the author of this cool book right here, book called How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader. And we are sitting with Curtis McCoy, who is the author and the writer of the book. Hi, Kurt. How you doing today?
Hey Scott, hey man, that's a great intro. The video leading you got is absolutely phenomenal. Looks great.
Yeah, I did that. It's
Really,
pretty cool. It was the
that's
very
awesome.
first time I ever did that. So, as you guys can see today, those of you that are listening to me, you're not being able to see it, but I have a green screen behind me today because I'm working off a different computer. And so let's get down to the nitty gritty. Kurt, I wanted to talk about your book and what brought you to maybe write this book. Can you tell us a little bit about your past?
Yeah, so I've had the book is called How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader, and I started writing it after I had survived brain cancer. So I went through. I had a cosmetic medical laser clinic, pharmaceutical company manufacturing bioidentical injectable research peptides, had a Christian clothing company, a nutrition company that was supplying supplements to a bunch of different gyms and smoothie shops and stuff like that, and very successful in a lot of different areas. But I got basically was diagnosed with brain cancer when I was early 20s. So I had I was making all this money, successful, had 18 plus bodybuilders following me around. I'd be at the Denver Coliseum sponsoring an event. I'd snap, the guys follow me around. This is where we're sitting, kind of a thing, and kind of felt like I had the world under control, like king of the world kind of a thing.
How old are you
And
at that time?
I was in my early 20s, so I'd already, I think I was in the maybe 20, 23, 24, something like that when I had launched the pharmaceutical company.
Yeah, how
And
did you launch that pharmaceutical company? Did you design it yourself or did you inhabit it from family members?
no, it was something that we came up with, me and a buddy. So basically, I had no medical background, but I'm very good at getting people around me who are much smarter, much more qualified than I am. So I'd say I'm more of a connector. So I had a couple of medical professionals. Ended up with the top compounding pharmacist from Abbott Laboratories, which is a major pharmaceutical company. And so we were manufacturing. We had these pharmaceuticals white label manufactured, meaning just like a lot of you get nutritional sports drinks that maybe they're manufactured by Coca-Cola or Pepsi, but they're labeled under a different brand and resold under this other company. So that's what we were doing with the pharmaceutical stuff as well. But I haven't been in that industry in quite a while. But that was basically I went from being very successful like that, started having 7 to 10 seizures a week, passing out. I actually had a big seizure at the Denver Coliseum where we were sponsoring. I had Andy Hammond. He actually recently passed away, but just a great dude, IFBB pro bodybuilder. And so I'm the title sponsor of this event. Had all these, bodybuilders and athletes and stuff there. And they get up and announce me as, thanking me for sponsoring the show. And I walked off, got too low, passed out, had a seizure, banging my face on the ground, and I actually peed my pants in front of, I got thousands of people there. And so I packed up my stuff and I left the middle of this, should have been a massive, just a crazy good night. And found out shortly after that, I was having seizures and stuff, and found out shortly after that I had brain cancer, malignant glioblastoma brain cancer. And I was given 60 to 90 days to live. Lost absolutely everything, lost my businesses. I mean, I couldn't even live alone, couldn't ride my new motorcycle. Had to move in and sleep on my parents' floor, kind of out in the middle of nowhere, because I couldn't, I was having too many seizures to even be able to live by myself. So I went from feeling like king of the world to having absolutely nothing. And I couldn't have driven, even if I was able to drive, I couldn't get to the grocery store and back because I had no sense of direction anymore. So my mom talked me into, as I'm fighting to survive there, said, she's saying, well, do you want to open another, weight loss company? Do you want to open another pharmaceutical company, a cell phone company? What do you want to do? So I started repairing cell phones more, I think, as a way just to keep from being so depressed about losing everything, going from king of the world to broke and having seizures. And I had actually lost the ability to speak for a little while there. So, started the phone company and built that back up. And as I was fighting the brain cancer, I started trying to figure out how to, I was taking notes as I was reading these personal development books, and almost like a blog where I was just writing down notes, trying to remember what I had just got done reading, and then going, man, there's some people that I really want to contact before I die. We thought I had no time to live, so I started reaching out to these successful entrepreneurs that I respected, and now that's been something where I've had interviewed hundreds of different people, and like you said, put together the book How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader, sharing the insights from these leaders that I looked up to and admired.
No, so I found that your book was really interesting because of the audience that you had. And as I was reading it, one of the biggest things I noticed was the way it was written was like you took notes of everything, every conversation you had with everybody in your podcast. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so actually, when somebody's a guest on a podcast, there's they sign up. There's a place that they can kind of fill out questions, and I did that as a way to, I'm thinking, hey, maybe I'm going to die, and so I made it to where people could get in, and the goal was, even if I had already passed on, that I could still have people, filling out these interviews and kind of sharing their insights on success, motivation, inspiration, leadership, how to be a good person, kind of a thing. And so I took some of the top interviews from those, took some of the top sections from those interviews and shared those interviews as chapters of the book.
So being that you had that you had a physical disease at the time, do you feel that that was one of the scariest parts of your life, that was a growth that made you better as a person?
And I have had so many failures. I'd say probably more than most, but yeah, I think every single failure that I've had has been a good opportunity for growth. And you don't always see that when you're going through it, but anytime you've lost something major, whether that was like me, the ability to communicate, or your finances, or a relationship, or whatever it is, anytime you lose something, you should be able to gain something from that. You should learn something from it. If you don't, you're going to have the same mistakes again. So I think it's a good thing where any failure is an opportunity to learn and maybe not create that same mistake again.
I want to say that as I was thinking about what I was reading inside your book, I was thinking about how my business relates to a lot of some of the things that some of the people were talking about out there. And as a person that owns my own business, one of the things that I find really hard for me to explain to others is how many times you can fail and grow out of your failure to become something better than you were before. Now, as a business owner, I started off, nothing in my pocket. I started off as a bootstrap business. I didn't have anything in my pocket. I always joke around with everybody about it. I started off with an S10 pickup truck, 2 Napa buckets, and a Shih Tzu poodle.
Okay.
And people say it all the time. They're like, must have been really hard. It was extremely hard. And I think as people start their businesses, they get excited. They're on fire. They're ready to go. Things are going to go smooth for them. And then as we start going through our first 3 years, that's when we start noticing that things are starting to get a little bit harder for us. And it's something for us to analyze and take consideration of. And, oh my God, I didn't think about this when it started, or I didn't think about that. Do you feel that since your attack, you're building a better brand for yourself now? You're building something that, motivationally speaking, you're being a motivational speaker. You're talking to other people about how you've accomplished getting yourself through this period of your life and how it's made you a better person, and how you can educate people on how they can be better from things that have happened in their life.
Well, in the story, it's a mistake if I share this as this is my story and this is how I became successful, because my goal is not to tell somebody that I've been so successful or tell you how much money I've made. The goal is to share with people that no matter what you're going through, you can get through it, and just take that as a failure, or take that failure as an opportunity and as a lesson. But just like me just now sharing that, I peed my pants at the Denver Coliseum after having a seizure in front of thousands of people. That's not something that makes me sound good, but I share that because I want to I want people to see, hey, no matter what you're going through, whether it's cancer or diabetes or, you just found out your husband or wife is cheating on you, whatever the thing is, that doesn't define you, and those failures don't define you. So that's the reason I'm being more open now about the struggles and what's actually happened, and not talking about, yeah, my company is on track to make $986 million a year. It's everybody likes the big numbers, and I guess it gives you more credibility when people hear the financial successes you've had and stuff. But I'm trying to be more open now and just share. And here's the stuff that I've gone through that really sucked, and I'm not comparing that to anybody else because I know everybody goes through their own junk. Whether it's a woman being raped, or people being molested as a kid, or abused by a spouse, or whatever the thing is, we're all dealing with different stuff that is absolutely terrible. But it's just a matter of deciding not to focus on that and not letting that define your life.
Now, you feel that social media has maybe played a big role in this, where we're constantly looking for other people's acceptance instead of just looking at us as handing ourselves an opportunity that we can grow on our own flaws, so to speak. So if one was trying to learn from their own, how do they get, if I remember correctly, there was a question in your book about, or there was an answer in your book about getting away from social media as a whole if we're trying to better ourselves.
I don't know if that's probably not one of the ones that I said. I've interviewed some pretty incredible people and I've had that view, but no, I think social media is awesome. It's what I've chosen to do is filter, be decisive about what I let in and what I don't. So if there's if somebody's using profanity and they're cussing, maybe they've got a great message, but they're always saying stuff that's really not a good influence for me or my beliefs or values, I cut that person out by unfollowing, or I don't get on and start a fight with them and tell them that I think they should have a different political belief or whatever. If it's something that I don't agree with or something that's not bringing me up, I turn that section off by unfollowing or muting that contact.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel that you're putting yourself amongst a group of people that are similar to you? They have a belief that sharing their accomplishments has improved people's lives since then?
Absolutely. So just like your Instagram account, the SSFYE podcast, on Instagram, following that, and I'm excited to see the stuff that you're posting because I'm sure there's going to be a ton of good, inspirational, uplifting stuff. A couple others. Tomorrow I'm teaching a class here on Podcasting 101 in Colorado, and then I'm going to be in Dallas with Daniel Gomez. Daniel Gomez expires. He's got got a class on. It's basically on how to be a professional speaker, but connect with different people like that, whether it's at conferences or events or just listening to podcasts and YouTube stories, that trying to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with positive information and good stuff rather than focusing on the negative.
Where do you see yourself in let's say 5 years?
Man, that's a good question there. So I've shut down all of my retail stores, and we've got down where now I'm just writing and connect with folks. I've got Newswire is the new company I'm working on, press release distribution. But whatever it is, I'm focusing less on the money, chasing the dollar and trying to be successful, and focusing more on something that makes an impact and leaves an impact on the world. So I'll probably be doing a lot more of the speaking and authoring more books rather than just focusing on running a business.
Now, this isn't your only book, is it?
No, this was my fourth book.
What made you want to be a writer?
A couple others. So that was, as I was fighting the brain cancer and stuff, I started writing, trying to leave an impact and make sure that when I was gone, that I could share something to better the world. And I guess the big one, there's a kid. I had the group on Facebook called Success, Motivation, and Inspiration. And this is an intro, but there's a kid that had called one night on a Facebook video call and talking about, he's trying to decide whether or not to end his life. He's going to commit suicide. and just happened that I answered the phone in the middle of the night and was able to have a conversation with him. But he had read a bunch of read a whole bunch of my blog posts and been on the group, and just kind of as a last ditch effort, thought he'd get on and call some random stranger on a success group. And because of that conversation, decided not to end his life. And so at that point is when I really decided that I need to start dedicating more time and energy to that. So I spent still a few more years running my telecommunications company, but trying to dedicate more time in making a change, not just making money. So I guess that's what got me started as a writer. It's a great question.
Do you feel that what's inspired you to keep on going every day in your growth is what you were able to present in your podcasts?
So most of my podcasts I'm interviewing other people, other successful leaders. So I don't share a whole lot about myself on those. It's more about I get to share a little bit more on interviews like this where I'm talking with other interesting podcast hosts who are interviewing me. Yeah, it's all been a great thing there. Looks like you might be muted.
That's the second time I've done that before.
No worries.
So if you could pick somebody who's been inspirational to your career and you could meet one person that you've never met in your entire life, who would it be?
So I think right now there's a couple of them. Tony Robbins is one that pretty much anybody in the entrepreneurial space wants to meet. Brad Lee is another one. We're connected on Instagram. I haven't met him in person yet, but the Dropping Bombs podcast, Brad seems like a good dude. He's just out there tearing it up, and we've had quite a few conversations, and he just seems like a good dude that's super. I mean, he'd kick you in the butt, get you going if you had if you weren't real motivated or whatever. So I would really like to meet Brad, and just last weekend met John C. Maxwell and Jesse Itzler and quite a few other incredible folks. Got to have dinner with some great leaders and stuff. So
yeah, if I remember correctly, not too long ago, you met Daniel Gomez, right?
oh yeah, Daniel's a buddy of mine. I'm actually flying out to promote a event for him next month.
Yeah,
Hey, Daniel's a good dude.
He just got done writing a book too, right?
He's I think he's done a couple of books. He's speaking all over the country, and he is hosting. Let me grab the. He's got the Sticker Shock. It's called the Sticker Shock. Give me just a second.
Speaking Academy.
Yeah, Sticker Shock Speaking Academy.
Yep. Yeah.
I'll be out there promoting for him.
That will be good. I know that you've been doing a lot of flying around. You've been all over the place. We've had to touch base a couple of times because this podcast here was supposed to be a couple of weeks ago, and with all your flying, it's been a pleasure getting you in here. It's been hard to be able to pull yourself away from some of the time, and does that make it hard for your family as well, for as often as you're gone?
So I'm not married. Don't have any kids or anything. I've got a little dog that's awesome, but my girlfriend's real understanding, and we live. We're not married, so we don't live together. But we do good. I mean, we hang out when we've got time, and she's real busy too. So no, I think you prioritize what matters to you. So when I'm around, I make sure that I'll go over there. We'll have dinner. She'll come to my place. We'll have dinner together, and
so
it's all about priorities, I think, though.
So your mom really helped you out during the whole time that you were going through your physical conditions.
Yeah.
Now that you're getting back on your feet and things are starting to grow a little bit better for you, does mom get to do all the traveling around with you to watch your growth, or?
My mom is a rock star. So she's out. Her and my stepdad are out barrel racing. So they're traveling all over. She's in Arizona right now, and just hit a barrel on her horse here, and had a double compound fracture, broke her leg. Both bones through the skin in her shin there. So I'm gonna fly out to Arizona here pretty quick and go see her after her surgery and stuff. But yeah, it's my mom is doing her own thing too, and she's crushing it.
Great.
She's a huge inspiration.
So let's talk about advice you would give new entrepreneurs or people that have already built their businesses or really trying to inspire themselves to be a better them. What would you say?
So if you're trying to be a better person, create a better business, anything you're trying to do to improve, you need to start putting good information in your head. So whether that's, books like mine, How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader. There's actually thousands of different books that can, focus on exactly the area that you're looking to improve on. Subscribe to the SSFYE, the Small Space for Young Entrepreneurs show on YouTube, but just start being intentional about surrounding yourself with that good information and cutting out the negativity. Your life will absolutely change.
If you had to pick a book that you've enjoyed reading yourself, especially lately, what would it be?
So one that I've read a lot of times is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie.
It's a
I've
great
read that
book.
probably 24 times over the years, and need to read it frequently because I fall back into those habits. But yeah, that's a great one that's one I've probably recommended the most if somebody's looking to improve their life and just be a better communicator and a better friend.
Yeah. Do you find that recently, I was discussing this with a couple other individuals, that as business owners, one of the most important pieces is consistency. Consistent to stay within communication with our customers, whether our customers are everybody around us or customers that we met 2 or 3 years ago that we need to touch base with. And do you feel that as a whole right now, small businesses are not really reaching out to that like we could be?
No, I think most businesses, any business that's still successful, is probably doing a great job of this. They've had Zoom, the different video conferencing platforms have made massive profits because it's forced people to connect and be able to reach out and connect folks that are not only, you're not just walking across the street to talk to your neighbor, but you're maybe giving somebody a video call across the country. But no, I think most folks are doing a great job of that. I get people every week. I've probably got 25, 30 calls a week where it's just incredible people that are calling. Daniel Gomez is constantly, you mentioned him. He'll send a text just saying, "Hey, love you, brother. Hope you're doing good." Or, give you a call and just, man, how you doing today? Just, chat for a minute there and say, "Hey, can we pray together?" And so he'll pray over you. And that's something I'm trying to do a lot also with, right as we had a little break in the podcast today, I was on 2 different video calls connecting with other people who are needing some support, need a little bit of love. So, no, I think if you're going to be successful, you're going to have to connect with people. You're going to have that heart to love people. And if you don't, somebody's going to replace you.
Yeah. So I think I can't remember the date it was, but you had a post, I think it was on Instagram. It said, you don't have to be a great speaker to start speaking. That's how you get better. Now, I say that I was interested in that because as a sales rep, to a person who is running a business where they're constantly talking to customers, the trick is to speak to your customer and to show them exactly what you're trying to get through in an image that they can understand. Now, what are some ways that we could start working with this so we train ourselves to say the right things at the right time, so we're not, say like insulting somebody the wrong way? Do you feel there's a way to train for that?
I think there is, but I think most of the time if somebody's focusing on training on how to say the right thing to sound the way that they want to sound, you're probably starting off in the wrong place anyway. One thing that, I grew up in a real rough household and had absolutely terrible self-esteem. One of the things that really helped me a lot was deciding I knew I was going to be, the lonely loser if I didn't decide to get out and start connecting with people, because I had I grew up in a house where children would be seen and not heard. And you would get, you'd get punched in the jaw walking through the grocery store if you were, if you said something out of turn. As soon as somebody wasn't looking, there was a price to pay for that. And so getting into college and realizing that, hey, I am not going to have any kind of a social life if I don't learn how to connect. So I decided to start focusing on, every day my goal was just to make one person smile. So I'd go out, I'm just terrified, shaking, walking walking into the grocery store line, and I'm trying to look at somebody's eyes and figure out, okay, what color eyes does the cashier have, and say something about them that I appreciated. That whether it was, hey man, nice bracelet, or I love that haircut. You got a great pair of glasses. Hey, those shoes are sweet. Whatever it was, and get them to smile. Just something that I truly appreciated about them. And yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is not trying to figure out how to say something to get a reaction out of somebody or get what you want out of them, but just truly appreciate people, truly love people. If you love people, the rest of it falls in place pretty easy.
So what? So I found a question in your book that I found fun. I've been dying to ask it of you, and that is, what steps are you taking to improve your life every day?
So every day I'm listening to audiobooks. I would like to say that I'm reading more, but I've been so busy with just so much going on. I'm not taking the time to sit down and read a whole lot. But every single day is audiobooks and podcasts. And then getting to I basically decided to start working out again and stuff. I let myself get old and fat and out of shape, and so I'm trying to make sure I'm working out every day. Been crushing the Jacob's ladder lately because that's probably the worst, most terrible exercise I could think of doing. So I've been doing at least 10, 15 minutes on that a day. But that reading and personal development, deciding to, anytime I'm in the car, there's an audiobook or a podcast playing. That's probably the biggest thing right now.
What are one of your favorite podcasts right now?
So I really like Brad. I really like Brad Lee's podcast, the Dropping Bobs podcast, and he's just kind of kind of says it like it is, and I like that he'll, if somebody's not being forthcoming or not being real honest, he has no problem shutting them down and just calling them out, and so I like that. That's one of my big goals is to be on the Brad Lee podcast, and there's a whole lot of them that I like to connect with. So,
well, that would be good. So this book right here, this one right here, the How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader. What do you think? What are you trying to get out to people when you wrote this book? What was a piece of the information that you were really trying to feed to people?
So a big part of it, people that are buying that book are typically Googling or they're on Amazon looking for how to be successful or how to think like a leader. So it's a good title to get people in there. But I interviewed a lot of people who are very, very strong, Christian, or, have a strong faith, have a strong belief that Jesus is their savior. And so that was a big part of it, is I was trying to interview people that are not only great with business, great leaders and very accomplished people, but also folks that, maybe a kid's get on there trying to learn how to be successful and go, you know what? This guy is talking about the verse in the Bible. He's talking about something that, whatever these Christian background is. And so I'm hoping that people see that maybe they buy the book to try to learn how to be successful, but they also get a little bit of Jesus too.
Mm-hmm. Well, there's a great cause in it. So we've asked you about books, and I know where are you located right now, state-wise?
I'm in Colorado. I got a house in Colorado here and traveling around a little bit. But where are you at, Scott?
I am in Maine. I am in a small town called Oxford in the state of Maine, and right now it is 13 degrees here right now, so it's pretty cold. But I want to thank you for having us, sitting on our podcast right now. And I'm going to ask you, I've already asked you one of my favorite questions, but my second favorite question I usually like to ask anybody who's been on my podcast is, what is your favorite hole in the wall place to eat in your location? Some place that nobody really knows about, but it's your favorite spot.
Oh man, there's a place called LJ's Burritos that my mom absolutely loves over here. It's kind of off down the side straight off towards their house. Not a real high traffic area, but they've just got some awesome. They got the conga burrito, which is absolutely awesome. It's got all kinds of different meat and shrimp and stuff stuffed in it. And that's a unique question, but you got me hungry now.
Well, I sat back and thought about a way that I could have you doing those extra exercises later on after you get done with the Congo burrito.
Yeah, I don't need it.
anytime you want to stop on over here to Maine, and we'll show you seafood for years to come. So,
I like that.
Curtis, it's been a pleasure having you on our podcast today. And I always look forward to bringing most of the people that we've had on our podcast back. And I want to see how the growth of your book has become and over the next year. And as always, guys, if you want to get to know Curtis and his book, How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader, please make sure to look for it. What are some of the places that they can find your book, Kurt?
So it's available in Walmart and Barnes and Noble and pretty much every major book retailer. Hit bestseller status in 9 different categories on Amazon. So you can find it pretty much everywhere. Easiest place to get the book though is just go to how2besuccessful.com. That'll take you right to the Amazon sales page. You can also find information about me. Just Google M. Curtis McCoy. I'm active on all the social media platforms. You can go to mcurtismccoy.com, or you can also go to mcm.team, and that's got a list of the podcasts that I've recently interviewed on, as well as the social networks and books and all this kind of thing. So mcm.team or mcurtismccoy.com.
And your favorite platform for social media is?
And I'm active on quite a few of them. I'm enjoying Instagram a little bit more just because of the short motivational videos and stuff. So pretty active on Instagram and Facebook both. And then I'm active on Twitter and LinkedIn and a little bit on TikTok. But
I can totally see you doing a TikTok thing right now.
Man, I do not do the TikTok dancing and stuff, but
oh, why not? See, that's you and me. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start a TikTok piece, and then you're gonna have to live it right next to me on the side. We'll do one after another. There you go.
I think that would be fun.
It would be a podcast fun. There you go.
I don't know that it would be very good for book sales. So that is my only reason for being on social media is I don't try to waste time on there with posting pictures of my latte kind of a thing. But
well, you never know.
Source,
you could do a TikTok with a picture of your book and maybe a TikTok of you reading your book.
Yeah. So I bought an app the other day that was I guess maybe a month or so ago that plays different inspirational, motivational podcasts as your alarm clock. And I woke up and there was this reading, somebody reading a book, and I was thinking, man, that sounds really familiar. And so I had actually paid for an app and found out that the app was they'd ripped my book off and they're reading that. So as my morning alarm clock, I woke up and I had these chapters, somebody reading my own book to me.
That's awesome. Crazy. Hey, have you thought about having it as an e-reader?
Yeah, that is the next that's the next thing here. So
great. I look forward to hearing it as an e-reader then, because as a detailer, showing it off already, huh?
Oh no, it was I was just laughing these ones where this app had taken they've got all my book chapters,
all your book chapters in it, yeah,
and sold it back to me, not knowing that it was. I had no clue that I was listening to my own book for my life.
Bought your own book, huh?
Yeah.
So, Curtis, it's been a pleasure having you on our podcast. I look forward to speaking to you sometime next year and seeing your growth. As always, my name is Scott Misha. I'm sitting here with Curtis McCoy, author and book writer of How to Be Successful, Think Like a Leader. Guys, I want to thank you very much for listening to Small Space for Young Entrepreneur and watching us on our YouTube channel. I look forward to bringing on our next guest next week. And Kurt, I hope you have yourself a wonderful day.
You too, man. Scott, I'm glad to be on. I'm glad to have connected with you. Good to be friends with you. Thanks.
Great.
Man.
All right.